Pretty strong bullish news coming out of the US. We've got stimmy checks and we've got the end of the government shutdown. Is this now going to ignite the market? Is this going to be the pump, or are we going to get deflated again at resistance? So guys, it is Monday. The market is pumping. Stuff's at resistance now. Up or down? Let's go. Remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. And it is Monday, so that means Chaos is in the house. He's bringing some indicator magic here for us. Hello, sir.
Hello.
He's actually short, just letting you guys know, okay? And we've got James in the house. What is a blue and a black? I mean, I've never
It's cold here now. It's winter, so I got to double up.
What, can't you be bullish when it's cold? Can't you be
well, I just don't have any green or red actual sweaters, so okay, yeah, we're gonna have to work on that.
We can work on that. Okay, shame. James mustn't be cold. Maybe the red markets will warm him up a little bit of red. Maybe sort him out. Okay, so Chaos is here. He's jumped in a couple of shorts. Maybe some short-term moves to the downside. Let's take a look at Banter Bubbles and let's see what these guys are going to give us. So you can see we're getting a little bounce there on BTC quickly. Let's see if it's going to turn into something more fun. But overall, we got the stock that is absolutely cooking. This is now part of the privacy narrative. This thing is flying again. Is the trade on Zcash over? Are we now done with the Monero as well? Is that all done? Pump has been doing really well for me. I'm fully out of pump. It is at resistance. Chaos actually short 𝗚𝗍 here, 5.9%. So all around nice and green, I would say. And it's been quite a fun couple of hours. And like, I don't want to say as expected, but like we did get a little rollover here at the VWAP. I was quite frankly looking for a little bit higher. I wanted to see 107 to 108K for that rejection. And the VWAP just basically dished it out for us. And you can see BTC on the 2 hour looking a touch bearish now at the moment. This thing is starting to really starting to hammer down now. So we got to keep our eyes on this 2 hour oscillator. If it is going to finish the full move to the downside, well, we might be in for a little bit more pain here on BTC. So right now, the most important levels for me in terms of what I like to see, I want to see the bull zone hold. And the bull zone for me is 103,850 into 102,950. So for me, it's anything like this dropping into that zone for a nice strong bounce out of BTC. And then we can still be happy. We can still be aggressive. James will pitch up with a green shirt tomorrow, things like that. But if we start losing VWAPs, we start losing the 0.5, things like that, then things start getting a little bit more ugly for what I'm looking for. So if we're going to stay bullish, guys, that is what I want to hold in the next, say, 6 hours, give or take. And then upside rejection zones, I am still looking 107 to 108 and 109 to 110. That is a big one to the upside for us. That is the 200-day moving average. And oh, Chaos, did I tell you I've got a death cross coming? Who knows what the death cross is? And are you terrified of the death cross? I've got one around the corner. James, you must love this shit. Little bit.
Well, but we actually pump into the death cross, right?
Correct.
And then it murders us.
Now it's happening. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that stuff as well. And Kijo's dad says Trump is looking strong today. I suppose. I mean, if my dad was throwing around $2,000 stimmy checks, I would guess his token would be pumping a little bit as well. But guys, that is me for BTC on the lower time frame. Let's jump into a couple of things here. Let's go. Let's look at lickies to start. And I must say, first glance, I was a little bit disappointed. 340 million, James. I feel like a little bit of a letdown on a Monday. I thought we would have got a lot more action out of the markets, especially the way things have moved. But look, if some of these late longs now come and get flushed out in the next couple of hours, that can obviously change relatively quickly. And this is kind of, are we feeling this way? Chaos, are we here, bro? Is this us? Is this us? I don't know. Okay, guys, maybe not. Okay, but how to make a man happy? We just keep it so simple. We're such simple people, really. I mean, James, this obviously makes you happy as well. I love getting flash green. I just want to get flash green all day. I mean, these are the best greenies I've ever looked at here. So, guys, a very simple game plan. You want to up my mood? just give me some green candles. I'm sure it's the same for the boys here in the show. Okay, so let's get into the big news. What is causing all this drama? So US stocks extend their gains with the Nasdaq up nearly 2% earlier today as the shutdown is nearing the end. Now, this has been the longest shutdown in history, and remember, the shutdown started out with quite a bullish market. It pumped for a week or two, and then things started sort of petering down, and now the news of the shutdown ending has obviously fired things up. So as things stand at the moment, it looks like this is going to come to an end on Wednesday based on what is going down. There's a lot of voting that still needs to happen from what I understand. James is nodding knowingly in the back here. Just give us the TLDR. What's the story with the vote?
It takes so damn long for this. They got to have a cloture vote, then they have to have a real vote, then it has to go back to the House to be voted on again because they made changes. But yeah, they're talking midweek. It should be official. This is here, but it's being reported. It's passed. This is done. We're good until the end of January. Because this is just a temporary.
Yeah, it's a temporary relief. This is good till the end of January. So we're kicking the can down the road, maybe a little Santa rally. But come January, the market's going to be selling off again, I would assume, with this around the corner. So that is obviously big news there. For us now, breaking, the senators reached the deal to end the shutdown. What does it mean? Runs to the end of 30th of January. Okay, that's fine. The deal reverses Trump's firing of federal employees, adds to provisions to prevent future actions like that. It ensures food stamps are funded through fiscal year 2026. So that is basically the long and the short of it. But what we need to know is end of Jan, the shit could potentially come and hit the fan again. Now, this is a banger, okay? Trump's just announced his $2,000 tariff dividend, okay? A payment of at least $2,000 per American, okay? All as the US debt nears $40 trillion, okay? So let's just take a look. There's debt out the wazoo. Look at that little marker there at the top. I mean, that's pretty bullish. I guess. Like, if you got a $2,000 stimmy, you'd probably start by buying food and stuff like that. And then maybe you'd buy some Tesla, you'd probably buy some Nvidia. And then maybe if you had some change left over, you'd probably sprinkle a couple of dollars at crypto. I would guess. A
little Brett, a little bonk, maybe something like that.
Stuff like that.
Perhaps.
Okay. So yeah, let's not assume that all the 2,000 goes into crypto. Don't forget, these guys, they're going to just carry on longing the top of Tesla and everything else as well if they get their $2,000. And we can see Trump is now really making a stink about this $2,000 situation. He says all money left over from the 2,000 payment made to low and middle income from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries will be used to substantially pay down the national debt. Okay, so there you go. He's very proud of his actions. What do you make of this?
I'd love to see the figures on this because we don't know what the cutoff is, what's considered low and middle income, and what does that calculate to given $2,000 per person, and how much money does that equal total? Because there's only been somewhere north of $200 billion in tariffs. I don't think that'll cover this bill. So there won't be leftover money to pour into this, but we'll see how the figures play out once we find that out.
There you go. Short-term pumpage in the market. Where does that leave us now for BTC on the 3-day? And I did mention a debt cross, guys. Let's not forget the standard practice when we see a golden cross is generally to dump into a golden cross. And when you see a debt cross, it's generally to pump into the death cross. Now, here is BTC on the 3-day, and what I want to point out is the 50-day MA is pushing down, the 200-day MA is pushing up, and if you get the 50-day crossing over the 200-day, that is known as a death cross, and basically the end of the world. If you are retail and the way you look at it, and I guess we are retail, but what tends to happen is we pump into these things, then decisions get made. And this kind of falls in line with my BTC plan that I had for you guys last week, where 109 to 113K on this 3-day chart is a monster rejection zone. And we need to be aware of that, because if we do reject in that area, the odds of coming down 94K, 88K start increasing exponentially for me, and that will tie in pretty nicely with a 3-day double bottom or something along these lines on the oscillator. Look at that. It's still got some legs to go. It's not over yet. If this was a 1-hour oscillator, I'd say, guys, like maybe a little bouncy here, but potentially lower, especially if we're going to print divergence and things like that. So that is obviously on the table. So my plan is still as follows. 1095 into 113k. This region over here is a monster danger zone. That is a big take profit zone on multiple altcoins that you're trading. Obviously on BTC, these are generally short areas as well. And if we start breaking above these levels, that's cool. Then we're possibly looking at some fresh trades, fresh longs, things like that. But first, let's get through that. And right now, that is my bear zone for me at the moment. Chaos, what do you make of the death cross? Bullish or bearish?
Nah, it's irrelevant. Data's been and gone. I'm happy to trade the actual candles rather than some made-up cross.
Well, there we go. The dreaded death cross, guys. Look, what we could say is pump into the 200-day MA. Generally, it's resistance, same as the 50. Look for a rejection there. If it plays out, we're going lower. It's as simple as that. Okay, so Chaos is going to join us. He's got, I think he's got 3 setups. One of them is 𝗬𝗃 that he's sending to 0. The other one is 𝗃𝗍. Was it 𝗃𝗍?
Yeah, I think 𝗃𝗍's played out, the one that I wanted, so we're too late for that, but I've got
𝗃𝗍. Shopping in the back there. Guys, if you want Chaos to look at anything for you guys, remember, Chaos is one of our guns in the 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗃's Discord. If you want him to look at something for you, comment now and let him know, and if it tickles his fancy, he'll start charting it for you guys. Okay, let's get into some things. Let's talk happiness over here. He says Bitcoin dominance has gone up 8 weeks in a row. And yet every week people are acting like it's crashing. Well, I mean, yes, he's right. I like the way he slides in always. He always just slides in here with stuff like that. But look, it did fall. It is looking bearish because we have lost. We've rejected quite hard. And it is, you know, in theory, it should be coming down. But he's not wrong. Okay, 8 weeks in a row, this dominance has been pumping. And where are we on the short term? Well, right now you can see we've dropped into our altcoin danger zone. Now remember, bouncing dominance, it means Bitcoin outperforms the altcoins, and rejecting dominance means the altcoins outperform Bitcoin. So right now dominance is pushing higher, and that is why your altcoins that you are currently in are bleeding a little bit and you're going a little bit backwards. So if this move continues to the upside, well, I suppose batten down the hatches, because some of these alts are going to get a little bit damaged. So what can this thing do in the meantime? There is an area over here, 60.4%, and that is our undercarriage. That could be a really nice relief zone. So if the market starts shitting the bed, the altcoins start really falling over, and we pump into 60.4%, that is most likely your next reasonable long zone on a lot of these altcoins. So just remember, like, we could roll over now and everyone's happy, but if we do start rolling over properly and these alts start getting rinsed, guys, 60.4, look for that, set your alarms. That is most likely a bounce zone on some of those altcoins that you guys can pay attention to. And then the same chart, guys, USDT dominance, pretty much the same story. Pumping dominance, bad for the whole market. Dumping dominance is good for the market. And you can see we dropped into our market danger zone, this 5.11 region over here. And now we're getting a little bounce. So a little bit of hopium here. There could be a relief rally now in the market. So anyone that's under tons of leverage pressure, for example, 5.26, this could be a little bounce zone for you now on the market, and we could get a little spring to the upside, and that could result in, for example, a push down into that lower region. Alternatively, if we pop through this 5.26, the next big zone for me is going to be 5.52, where we can get some kind of relief. Now, I see there was a comment about Zcash, and we are talking about that. And honest question here, guys, is the Zcash trade over? Is the privacy narrative done? Like, answer me that question, because we've seen everything else start pumping and everybody suddenly lost interest in the Zcash. So are we done on Zcash? I see there's a question for ZK for Chaos as well. Chaos, if you got time, look at that. That could be a good one as well. If it makes sense to you. Okay, guys. So that is the current situation on USDT dominance, and that 5.26 tells us we could see a bounce shortly in the market. If not, 5.52. That is where we're looking later on. Okay, now in terms of, I'm skipping the heat map today, but in terms of ETH, this is something interesting going on here. While ETH is surging, 𝗏𝗍𝗃, now I don't know who 𝗏𝗍𝗃 is, continues to expand his 25x long ETH position. Currently, the position is valued at 20 million. 20 million long ETH is quite a nice size. Like, I really hope it starts going well. But he's got a floating profit of 960, but currently the guy's down 14 million. So is ETH going to be the recovery trade? Chaos, James, is ETH the recovery trade? Is this the move that saves the portfolio here?
Hope so for him anyway. Otherwise, he's going to look like James Wynn.
I mean, my issue is like it could be the trade, but it looks like Bitcoin at the moment. So there's no changes on ETH for me. 3,800 is a monster rejection zone. You can see we front ran that area today. Look at that, 3662, and it's already starting to roll over. So big danger zone here for ETH. Like if we blow that zone, yes, then we have the bull discussion. But I think it's going to be much the same with regards to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pumps into 110 to 112, you're going to see ETH hitting that 3.8, and then the real test is going to come. Are they going to roll this market over, and are we going back to zero, or are they going to give us a little Santa rally and start breaking through these big zones? So good luck. And Ruth says size does matter. Yeah, I mean, it definitely matters, especially if you are 20 million long ETH, I guess, and maybe for a couple of other things, but this is a family show. Right. Someone else here is trading Solana. You got a short for us. 100 and?
Yeah, I've got Solana short coming. I'm waiting for 179. We're not there yet.
Do you want to take us through that, guys? You've seen this. If you've been watching the show, you've seen this from me already. 168, 176. I've got a 200-day at 180. Let's check what Chaos has to say here. And is it time to start cutting some of these longs? That is really the question.
The levels that you call are obviously, I completely agree with, but what I'm actually looking at is just I've got a descending channel here with our chart prime chart hackers indicator, and actually it makes sense to me just to tap this. There's two anchored VWAPs up there as well. We've also got the 100-day just a little bit higher, and the point of control, and we've got this bearish order block. So for me, what I'm looking to do, just give you a bit of a zoom in there, is I'm actually looking to just touch this and then reject, maybe with a head and shoulders here. And it's very, very simple. 178 onwards up to 180 is your entry. And all I would do, guys, is drop a short tool in there, place your stop loss outside of the pattern, which is this descending channel, and just start to target the previous day high. And then this very bullish order block, that there is a 6-to-1 trade.
So when you look at this, are you like, is your view like we get a higher low, or are you not interested? You just looking for the short? Like, where are you now in this move? Like,
actually
go lower?
Listen, looking at this, right, the cash flow here is clearly coming back in, and that for me is more likely to give an RSI where we get an STC, or a shit the ceiling for people that don't know what that is, and that normally results in a higher high. And now I'm looking to tap this and then for it to fall over.
Okay, but I mean, you're not looking for new lows like after that.
No. Oh, I see what you're saying. For me, do you know what? I'd like to see this level again, 158, 160. It makes sense to me to take out all of these longs, all of these people that have got stops everywhere. There's a bullish order block here. I'd like to see this level get tapped again. And at that point, we would still be making higher highs.
Okay, so all is not lost. Yeah, all is not lost here, guys. So again, like, he's not sending you to zero. He's just giving you a realistic view based on the indicators. And we can see we're at major resistance here. If it does roll over, then they wipe out some of the late longers, and things can still stay relatively bullish there based on that. Okay, so that chart's going to be in the Chart Hackers Discord for you guys, as well as my soul chart. You'll be able to see how they tie into one another as well. That's going to be waiting in the Discord there for you guys. Let's take a look at, well, firstly, yeah, let's take a look at some of this mess over here. Okay, what have I got going on here? I've got a Bitcoin hedge short running. Okay, it's overtaken my long now, so the long's nicely in profit. I've got a Sol hedge short running. I've got Sui. I've got Hype. Then I've got Injective long from yesterday or this weekend. I've been adding to that under a bit of pressure. I've got a 𝗨 short running, but we're in a bounce zone. We're going to talk about that. Ethereum Classic, no changes to that short from last week. I've got ETH long running as well. That thing's starting to print now, but again, starting to ask myself questions. Was that the rejection? Do I need to exit this thing now? Are we going to get one more push from the market makers here? Are they going to send us up? Aero, that's been pretty good to me. Link's been okay. It's starting to roll over a bit as well. Virtual has been another banger. Sol's been good, and Hype's been good so far. So, that's pretty much my mixed bag, and I'm starting to ask myself these questions because I also got stopped out of my XRP trade. My XRP short, which James is super happy about.
Yes. Smash those shorts.
to celebrate it, I opened another one, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys where it is. Okay, we're going to celebrate this XRP until we send it to zero. Okay, so that's currently what I got going on in WEX. Now let's just quickly talk about this ZEC, guys. And is this trade actually done? Like, are we finished with this thing? This was the tweet I was looking for yesterday. I don't know how this thing got lost, but the guy had a $3.5 million long on 10x leverage. What was his entry here? His entry was what was this guy's entry here? 593. Okay, 593 on Zcash. Okay, so that's quite a big trade. Okay, did he possibly long the top? And Sandra is saying privacy meta in full force. Zcash takes up 60% of the mind share at the moment. So this is all this whole narrative that is going on. And if you're wondering why 𝗫𝗫 was pumping, is 𝗫𝗫 part of this privacy narrative? All of a sudden, they've just invented a narrative. James is like, yeah, it's privacy now.
There's some connection with Zcash on 𝗫𝗫. I'm not sure what it is. People were talking about it in the Discord that, yeah, 𝗫𝗫 is somehow affiliated with Zcash now and it's pumping. And that's what seems to have happened here. Zcash has lost its luster and there's a rotation into the smaller caps and the affiliates that is rolling into. That's why STRK is running today.
Okay. So, yes. So, you know, this seems like a typical play in a narrative. You go for the top dog and then you spray it out to the smaller ones. And then all the cards kind of roll over at some point. So just in terms of Zcash, guys, like, yeah, like, I mean, this guy's back at entry in terms of his trade. If you look at this thing on the weekly chart, I've been tracking this for a while. You can see there's a level at 490 and we've got another level at about 370, give or take. But this thing can literally just rinse and repeat what it's done over the last few years. Look at that. These big reversals on this thing. And right now, you know, it depends how degen you want to be and what you're looking at for this thing. But I've been tracking this all day. I've been waiting for the 1 hour to give me some kind of bottom sign or some kind of reversal here on this thing. Mr. Bello says, I can't believe it's not going to 10K. I'm shocked. Can you believe it? But I'm trying to get a 1 hour reversal out of this thing now. And it's getting close. But until we start seeing these reversal prints or we start seeing divergence, we got to be super careful when you just start randomly jumping into stuff. So in terms of zones that I think could possibly tie in on the 1 hour with Zcash, I am looking a little bit lower over here at the moment. And that is for me 565 into 532. Okay, so these two areas here, this might tie in with us bottoming out now on the 1 hour. I've left the order blocks here so you can see it. So it's order block, it's a 618, it's horizontal. I've got a VWAP from the 4th of November as well in that region and a 618. So 565 into 530, guys, looks like a reasonable zone here that could give you a short-term 1 hour bounce, okay, on the Zcash. But remember, we want to see these reversal signs first before we start randomly aping in to these types of zones. Okay, so just be careful. If it does drop into that area, just nibble around there. And what you could typically get is some kind of drop into the zone, then maybe a short-term pump, print a lower high, and then possibly they can drop this thing lower, especially if this trade is now over. And this could be maybe a possible exit plan for some of you that may be feeling a little bit underwater potentially. Now, 𝗫𝗫 is now obviously done the full conversion. 𝗫𝗫, private, unstoppable, intentional. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. It wasn't 𝗫𝗫 the AI layer 1 for so long with NVIDIA. Now we're the privacy layer 1, and this thing's absolutely pumping. And it caught me by surprise. How's this? 75%. Did you get a piece of this?
I didn't, but I love how 𝗫𝗫 becomes part of any active narrative. It's going to be Bitcoin tomorrow, you know?
I mean, all you have to do is tweet that you're part of the narrative, and then everyone jumps in. But guys, look, I mean, even when I called this move, I was saying 20%. I was not expecting 72% out of 𝗫𝗫. I would never have stayed in this trade for 72%. I mean, I would have been delusional if I thought I was going to ride that thing all the way up. So, yeah, I mean, I would have been happy with that little 13 to 20% move. But 𝗫𝗫 has now pumped all the way into major resistance. So I cannot tell you guys there's a fresh trade on 𝗫𝗫 up here. You can see why. This is a very big danger zone, monster pump. And the easiest thing for me to say to anybody looking for a position on 𝗫𝗫, it's going to be very simple and similar to those of you looking for a position on something like Filecoin that also pumped this weekend. All you want to do is track your high confluence zones on higher time frame, and you can see here 𝗫𝗫 traders, this thing can stay bullish, the market can remain bullish. until 𝗫𝗫 is closing below 2.6. Okay, so look for a drop. If it does drop 2.6 into 2.55, I've got 50-day, 200-day, horizontal, 382. There's tons happening there. That should offer you some kind of bounce. If you are jumping into 𝗫𝗫 up here, it's a high risk play for me personally. I think it's after a pump like that, you kind of need to let these things cool off a little bit. I might be totally wrong, but 2.6 for me, guys, that is the big one. And Abe says 𝗫𝗫 will be the 𝗖𝗵Privacy RWA gaming layer 1 by the end of the cycle. I agree. I absolutely agree. Definitely. I'm so bullish. I'm so bullish on that narrative. Did he leave off Deepin as well? What are the other ones? What are the other ridiculous
Anything
ones?
you want. Staking.
ICM,
whatever.
Internet Capital Markets. I mean, we've got to cover everything here. Okay, so guys, there's 𝗫𝗫. So no fresh trade for me. And then I loved Ali charts. I always thought this guy was a little bit too bullish, but he's looked at XMR. I actually love this. I nearly fell out of my chair. He says, since 2017, 450 has been a brick wall for Monero. Another rejection here could send price to 230, even 140, and his arrow is pointing to 44. I actually love this guy at the moment, and this is how he wants to play Monero. So, is the trade possibly over on this Monero? I just want to touch on this. There's obviously no long for me here in the current zone. Chaos was saying he likes 380, which is a reasonable bounce zone as well. But for me, I think this narrative needs to be flushed out a little bit, and the guys need to get rinsed. And anyone buying, say, around about the 5th of November needs to be dealt with. Okay, and then possibly another bounce coming there on Monero. So for me personally, 340 into about 330, something like that should give you a bounce, maybe a 10, maybe a 15%. I would guess a lower high if it does happen. I would guess something like that potentially. And or is that just me am I just being too bearish? Am I just being terrible?
I don't think so. I think you've given a good zone.
James, what was that comment about 𝗫𝗫 over there? I'm glad someone else noticed that 𝗫𝗫's been doing, Okay, so Chaos, do you want to add on XMR? Is there anything you want to add here for a bounce zone? What were you looking at earlier?
I mean, I've got the chart open now. If you want to on 𝗫𝗫, did you say, or XMR? You said XMR, right? Okay, XMR. Very, very simply, just showing you guys where we've come from. Obviously, I've got my first entry, like Dylan just said, around this 379, 380. And that's purely a fib pulled from the low to the highs, and that's the 618. The next zone that I'm looking at is from our chart hackers indicator. We've got we've got a bullish order block just down here, of which the midpoint is 360. And then essentially, if you get stopped out there and you get stopped out there, your third attempt is down here at the point of control, where you'd set yourself a TP back up at the highs and a stop loss below the order block below, and then that is down at 340. So I've literally got 380, 360, 340.
Do you think this narrative is over?
I don't think it ever really got started, did it? I think we're going to see some dips. I think probably it's fair to come down to the point of control. I wouldn't be surprised to do a complete round trip on this whole move, if I'm honest.
James, is the privacy narrative over?
No,
definitely
not. The news out on the ECB today and all the controls they're going to have on crypto over there, this is not good die. We're going to have a big retrace maybe, but it's going to stick around.
Okay, so guys, look for entries. That's pretty much as simple as that. Obviously, late longers get flushed. That normally happens, but look for some entries when everyone's getting a little bit bearish on the narrative. Maybe look for the bounces, and then we can get some action. Now, guys, how's this? I forgot to show you Palantir MicroStrategy, and we didn't even talk about the S&P. And I thought while Chaos was talking there, I was like, fuck, I've got to close this Palantir situation. And also, I've got breaking news for you. BitGet is now trading stocks. So the nice thing about stocks on BitGet is you can trade McDonald's. Okay, look at this. We can trade Macca's now when things going really badly. So I've got a Macca's out ready here on BitGet. It's not at my entry just yet. So let me actually show you. There's Macca's. And guys, remember, if you're ever feeling really bearish, we're going to pull out BitGet and we're going to trade Macca's. So 291 is going to be the Macca's long for me. Looks like a nice little trend there. We can get a little bounce. And yes, Matty, they specifically gave me 25x leverage on stocks. Okay, they started at 5x, and I kind of laughed, and I was like, no, you guys are joking. Do you understand that I've got degenerates in my Discord? And they thought I was joking, and I sat there with a straight face, and then they came back and said, okay, 25x, and we've now got 25x leverage on stocks, okay, courtesy of the Lord. Okay, so here we go. You can hit, they are giving us 10x on Macca's, okay, but they're giving us 25 on a lot of other stocks there. I can't believe they're giving us 10 on Macca's. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. They should give us max. They should give us max. Okay, let's talk about Palantir. Talk about a get out of jail free card. In fact, I need to close this thing now. This thing went negative like 1,000. This thing basically sent me to the depths of hell. And started buying this, started adding to the position. And remember, guys, we had that big sell-off on Friday. And when they're abusing NVIDIA, when they're abusing the S&P, when they're abusing Palantir, those types of stocks, and you drop it onto a fairly big zone, you got to kind of look for buys, because these guys are more degen than some of these altcoin traders. And they come back and they pump these things up time and time again. So Palantir, get out of jail free. Let's just get out of this thing right now. We're going to close this one. Nice little pumper. And MicroStrategy actually brought me all the way back to entry. Look at that. So yeah, close this, keep this open. What do we do?
How's the, I can't see your oscillator there. Can you just make it bigger? Let's have a little look. Oh, it's coming down pretty low, and cash is still flowing in.
I need a proper crypto bounce for MicroStrategy to start playing out here.
Yeah, listen, the thing is, when the market bounces and Bitcoin bounces, MSTR is going to bounce. That cash flow looks pretty reasonable to me, to be honest, on the daily. Money's been flowing out hard. It's held levels, and now it's going to flow back in.
Okay, MicroStrategy, I'm leaving open for now. Let's see what happens. Palantir, I'm out. Macca's, we can trade on BitGet. I'm super excited about that. And there is now 25x leverage. Okay, so I'm very, very proud of what I did for you filthy degens out there. I wasn't going to let them give you 5x. How rude. Okay, we need max X for these stocks. Okay, so that is now locked in, guys. If you want to trade on BitGet, or in fact anything that I'm talking about on the show, you go into the show description, you click on the more button, and you'll see everything that I talk about is sitting under there for you guys. Okay, we've got a lot to get through here. Chaos, are you braced? Okay, we got Shitcoin Casino coming in, Ethereum Classic, Virtual, 𝗨𝗏𝗏, Hype, Pump, XRP short again, and Filecoin and Arrow, and whatever else Chaos wants to throw at us. James is just not happy. He's like shaking his head in the back there. Yeah, he's okay. Let's go. Let's start with XRP because I know James loves it so much. Breaking, the first US spot XRP ETF could launch next week. Who's going to buy? Your gran. Who's literally buying this stuff? Everyone's aunties. Okay, well, anyway, there it is. Like, good luck with XRP. And high confluence rejection area, I couldn't help myself. So yesterday I gave a when entry XRP short, and they came, where was our zone? It was our 786, and they came and they flushed us through that. They closed above the zone, and that resulted in a stop. So I cut that thing. Then we pump into our next high confluence rejection zone. What is that for me? 2.56 into a death cross, 200-day MA and 50-day MA. Look at that, James. We're pumping into a death cross, okay? Maybe there is another rejection coming on XRP. Here's the 2 hour. It's rolling over. What do you make of that, Chaos? A little bit bearish there. Let's see the one. Bullish on MACD employment numbers. Bearish on the 1 hour. Okay. So for me, I had another crack. Okay. Now I've given this one a ride on 2bit. And 2bit has come to the party. And believe it or not, we got BitGet doing stocks now, 25x leverage. And 2bit have started doing Forex. Okay, so these guys are covering everybody now. They've got one pair at the moment. They got more pairs coming, but I couldn't help myself. I jumped into an XRP short over here. So just to give you guys the game plan, the exit for me is candle close above 2.64. Candle close above 2.64. That means that we might be heading north of the 200-day MA, and things could be turning mega bullish. Okay, so if we close above there on the 1 hour, that's an exit plan there for XRP. If we get a second, last few kicks of a dying horse, something like that, beating off Dave's dead horse or whatever, we're looking at something like that there on XRP. Okay, so 2.64, 2.63, close above that, guys. That is going to be the exit plan there for me. Let's get into ETH Classic. no changes. Still holding the short. No reason to do anything with this guy. Would love to see it go lower. My plan is, if it does pump higher, guys, it's going to be an option for you guys to add 17 and 17.8. These are add zones for that short. I do believe we can get this thing a little bit lower, especially if there is a little bit more weakness. And XRP is playing with our minds. Yeah, I mean, it plays with everyone's minds, doesn't it? Especially James's. He refuses to be short, and we're going to short it until he is short, and then it will bounce. I mean, when James is bearish on XRP, that's the day, right?
I took profit today, actually. I did.
Good. Nice. You must have been happy that I got stopped.
Nice.
You must have enjoyed that. Good
I was
for you.
celebrating. I was.
What an asshole. Okay. Then we got virtual. Also being a very good pumper. Jeez, chaos. How's this? Okay.
I've got virtual as well. Nice.
Okay, well, let's look at yours. My concern is they give us what they gave us last time, which is a filthy retrace. Okay. I don't like the look of this here. If this thing carries on bleeding, 20%. Can I see what you got? James is emotional.
James is emotional. Yeah, sure. I got my chart.
Okay, let's see your virtual
I get it with
here.
the XRP thing. I get it.
Possibly
Okay.
a big sell.
Huh?
Possibly a big sell-off here. 20%.
So listen, there is a trend within a trend. Okay, so this is an ascending channel. Very, very simply, we've tapped the top, we've tapped the bottom twice. If we come down to the bottom, I mean, that's where there's also a bullish order block present. We could bounce now, but I suspect, looking at this bearish divergence and the fact that the RSI is facing down and the MACD just about to cross the downside, I think it's potential we lose this and we make our way down here to the longer term. Sorry, that was a terrible drawing. The longer term channel. There we go. And that difference is going to be, it's about 10%. So I think that probably is more likely. So what you're going to be ending up with is just get rid of that. A chart that looks something along the lines of this. Here's your channel. Sorry about all the extra stuff. Let me get rid of that. There you go. You can see it much clearer now. I think we tapped the bottom of this channel and we're probably going to wick into this order block. And that is a 1.23 give or take for an entry.
Okay, so that's actually a new low. That is lower than the Sunday Sunday low. Okay, that's okay. So guys, you got 1.26 for virtual. Okay, that's your possible bounce zone. And what time frame is this?
This is the 3 hour, but it's the same on the 4 and the 2 as well. 1.26 was that previous 1.28 was the previous low. This one down here is 1.26, and if we wick into the block, it's 1.23.
Okay, guys, there you go. You got the rundown on that 3 hour super bearish. Remember, lower time frames you might get shorter moves, but that 3 hour is now giving you a picture that this thing might be actually net down now until it hits those zones that Chaos is talking about. So in the interim, you may or may not get little bounces and little moves of these zones, but he's talking about that over there as a possibility to play out on virtual. So this could take a couple of days potentially if this is going to happen. And in terms of the 1 hour, you can see we're not quite there yet. And I'm going to deal with Tower as well. We are not quite there. We're looking for these reversal prints on the oscillators. We want to see these signs that it's bottoming out, that we can start sniffing around on those areas. So Tower is close. If there is another hour or so here, we could be getting some kind of reversal, and you might see something like this around about this 1.4 and trend. What I'm saying is it just might be a lower high. Okay, so just remember that and plan accordingly if we do get a little bounce here on the market. So 1.4, guys, you can play around there. Then you might start this move lower, 134 and then 126, 123 that Chaos is talking about. Let's talk to wow. And you can see I've got two charts for you. One is just used to show you the big range that we are in. Here's your upside, here is your downside, and we are just technically just chopping around here at the moment. The 2 hour is looking rather bearish. You can see we printed divergence here, and looking at this chart, it says to us there's a strong possibility it might want to come into that 340 region. Now, if it's going to do that, it's going to take time. There's going to be short-term bounces along the way, but you might find something like this over the next couple of days, and we drop into the 340 for a nice long at the range low. What do we do now, though? Lower time frame. Well, we can track 30 minutes, we can track 45, we can track the 1 hour, and we can start looking for these small little bounces. So what I mapped out earlier today for the chart hackers, and you can see we're actually losing this region right now. We're losing our 50-day MA, we're losing our 200, and we're losing our 618, which is never a good sign for us, because that tells us we might have a situation like this where we print these lower highs and we start dropping it a lot lower. Now, Giovanni says tower going lower. So yeah, you've got the range play. The range low, the big one, is going to be this 345 into 342, somewhere in that region. Lower time frame, guys, I'm tracking this 1 hour. I want to see this 1 hour bottom out. I want to see this on the oscillator. We are nearly there. Okay, so just be patient. Nearly in the zone here. Just look for that. And I used to watch the show live. Now I live to watch the show. What a legend. What an absolute legend.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay, so we are very close to some kind of short-term bounce on 𝗬𝗯𝗯. Just protect your capital, okay? You might find if we do get a sharp snapback bounce in the market, this thing can really shoot up quickly, and you might find that the candle actually closes above that area and then starts just grinding higher. Okay, so that is obviously on the table here for us. You can see this 1 hour is getting close, but it's not quite there yet. Okay, you want to see that playing out, which is around the corner. So how do we tie that in? Well, I would say what you want to play or pay attention to, 363, and you can see our 618 that we're sitting at now is 371. Okay, so these two zones, 371, 363, they might be the beneficiary of a short-term bounce in the market. And in fact, I'm going to close my 𝗬𝗯𝗯 short here, because I believe we might be getting a bounce here. So let's just close that one there. Okay, done there on that guy. Okay, so we might get a short-term little snapback bounce. You can see what my thought process is, and then bigger picture zoom out. You can see the bigger levels to the downside. Okay, Hyperliquid, let's go. We are losing our short-term local degen bull zone, and when we start losing local bull zones, we need to go to our macro zone. So Hyperliquid traders, I'm one of them, tracking the 1 hour. Look at this. This 1 hour is waiting to bottom out. Oh, wait, I've lost it. There he is. Okay, so same story here. Looking for this 1 hour to bottom out. It's very, very close. Okay, look at this. If you're feeling a little bit of pain, I believe we are close to some kind of relief here on this Hyperliquid. Okay, so it's moving into 40.27. This is our macro VWAP. We've got our 200-day MA. I've got a 382 fib as well. So this is considered our more macro bull zone. And if you hit that guy, I'm looking for that bounce, 40.27 on Hyperliquid. Okay, so we are very close to some kind of 1 hour move. It might just be a lower high. We'll have to see how it goes. This looks like the virtual chart. They might play it the same way. Okay, let's see what happens on Hype. Then in terms of pump, I told you earlier I was exiting this pump long position. The reason being we were at resistance. There were two danger zones here for us. So anyone trading pump now, you can see on the 2 hour, this thing is bearish. We are looking for a move lower down, and this could take a little bit of time. In terms of interim zones and zones that you can play at, here's your local bull zone on pump, 419 and 409. 419 and 409. These two zones here make sense to be some kind of bounce on pump. 419, 409. Look for action there. If the market shits the bed, guys, it's a long road down, okay, all the way into that undercarriage, which is at 385. But for now, to be safe, 419, 409, I expect some kind of bounce in that area. Okay. Chaos, anything else you'd like to add here?
I've put about 7 charts in Hackers while we've been talking from people who have been requesting from the audience. So all of your requests, I've tried to do all of them. They're all in Hackers, guys.
What a gentleman. What a lovely man.
Dylan, there is a banging RV shorts.
Did you drop it in chart hackers?
Everyone in Hackers has had it for about 2 hours, and we should be about 11% up, but it's not a touch on where it's going.
Okay, Brother Nature Joe says long everything. Well, speaking of longs, here's a long. Filecoin, I teed this one up yesterday for the private Zoom we do on a Sunday night, and I said just be patient. Wait for the entry. Here comes Filecoin 2.3. Guys, possible long here on Filecoin 2.3. We've been waiting. You're going to see some kind of divergence print as well on the 2 hour, so that could be fun. Aero could be a bounce here, 103, something coming, and then if that fails, you've got 99. So 103, and then 99. This 1 hour is very, very close to some kind of bounce. So 103, and then you've got 99 is your backup level on Aero. Injector from last night, we longed it on that Sunday banger. I'm still sitting in it under a bit of pressure. In terms of support, 7.68 makes sense to me. And Link never hit the target, 16.9. Looking for a rejection there. Fell over too early. What must I do? Why is it an asshole? Like, it's been a total asshole to me for 2 days. So much for the Link conference bounce trade that we were looking for. Fuck, that was annoying. Okay, boys, everything is in Chart Hackers for you. All the charts, everything I talk about is in the show description. If you need anything from there on your shopping list, the boys, James, thank you, sir. I hope you get warm. I hope you go get warm and cuddly.
It'll be about 6 months from now, maybe. Winters are long here. Miserable.
He's looking unhappy. Eh? We need green candles to cheer him up. Okay, anything you'd like to say, James?
Good luck, everyone. Hopefully we get a bounce here soon and we're not going straight to hell.
Possible 1 hour bounce. Chaos, anything?
Yeah, I'm in Amsterdam on Thursday, guys. Come.
That is correct. Come to Amsterdam on Thursday. We are all going there, and 30 to 40 of the Hackers community are meeting us in Amsterdam. If you want to come, everyone's invited. Come hang out with us. We'll see you in Amsterdam on Thursday. Okay. See you guys later.